Hello and welcome. In this message, we wanted to expand and extrapolate on the idea of your frequency adjustment to the new phase and offer you some structure and guidance of the shift that has recently taken place. And if you are experiencing difference, if you're experiencing a reality that is unknown to you, explain the parameters or explain the net interpretation of the shift and what has taken place. So, to begin with, basically, on the whole, the entire set of messages that Tanya has been channeling has been revolved around the idea that Earth is in the process of ascension. Humanity, as part of this ecosystem, is in the process of ascension, and you're going through this phase shift that is changing your perspective. And most importantly, perspective of the shift of the nature of reality that you perceive. And I will reword that in a different way. You will start to see, identify, and define your reality different than you have, identified before. So the shift itself, from the physical standpoint, you're still a being, you still hold physical matter, you still have perception of time and space continuum, but the nature of all the quite literally solid things that you have been interpreting thus far will start to become more nimble and open to interpretation. And so, thus, the certainty behind each subject, certainty behind each answer, the certainty behind each and every thing being the way it is supposed to be will start to become flexible. And so the shift in reality, the progression of how this is happening is as Earth is going through the process of her ascension, and as humanity and you are going through the process of this ascension, then your reality on the whole, not will only start to shift and has started to shift and has been shifting, but it will amplify in shifting into the linear time progression that you're experiencing, but your definitions will start to fall apart. And so, the exciting part about it that you can uh, draw a playful interpretation of is how will the new earth present itself as, right? How can I interface with this new earth, and what can I offer to this new shifted perspective, new way of operating? And you would use word manifesting, right? How do I manifest reality with this new overflowing abundance of undefined structures, undefined forms, meaning you're able to interface with the nature of creation more so than you have been before. And that is kind of the biggest interpretation that you can derive from out of this shift is, extraplanetary structures and extraplanetary beings have been able to interact with this as their truth. In fact, on the march, greater and in-depth level of interpretation, and you are basically kind of in that kindergarten state of just now starting for the first time to touch this idea of the greater whole, and then the non-solid nature of its being. And so through this different interpretation, through this different reality, you can start to play, right? You can start to get excited about the possibilities of what it means for you to all of a sudden face a reality that is malleable and is already primed for your interface and for your conjoining, and then thus propagating and building, and then thus uh, having held perceived structure, it will be perceived as a structure that is of new form of reality, and that would be perceived as a new way of you interfacing with something greater. But again, I will point out that something greater is the you would call prana, or the energetic source, or the source of creation, or the source of all facilitation. And you're interfacing with the energy of the source directly. When in the past, that has always been your reality and has kind of been hidden behind this veil of unknowing. So you're always possessed this power, you always had this power, but unbeknownst to self, you've been kind of playing in the playground with blinders on, and now your blinders are off, right? And then you are starting for the first time to notice and see that this idea of, wait, what is your new truth? Um, and a lot of fun experiences, a lot of fun waves of being can come out of that perspective. And I would ask you to one, find your own truth in that reality, right? Do not listen to somebody else's version. Do not listen to somebody else's interpretation. What I would advise for is also, do not negate this truth. Do not listen to a version that will have this truth be something else. And instill, just like I mentioned from the previous message, fear or anxiety or stress over the shift, and simply embrace it and then see it for what is able to offer you, which is, a brand new place to play, a brand new place to experience Earth, and your trajectory on this change as something different. Deep down, you already recognize you came here to experience this trajectory, this shift. You came here to experience what it is like to be in the space of the uh, overview and a functionality from behind the veil to that transitory phase of what it means for you to face reality and do reality from the standpoint of this new greater interpretation, when the veil starts to thin and you start to see the nature of things quite differently, but quite whimsically and attractive and endearing to the heart. Once you start to recognize the difference and the nuance of what it means for you to see through a greater depth of what it means to be you in this form, what it means for you to be a member of um, civilization Earth, and then what it means for you to be a member of the galactic whole and a representation of this greater set of beings. You will start to realize the extent in which you can start to play, and an extent in which you can start to interact and have greater reaches and greater potentials and greater experiences within this interpretation. And so it is a utterly excited place to be, and I hope you see it for such. In my human form, I can help by hold ultimate excitement because I feel the actual essence of this nuance. Um, but yes, allow yourself to interpret and allow yourself to know thy being as something greater than you have allowed yourself before, right? The allowance, the permission of you, just to simply open your eyes. The blinders are off. Now just simply start to unsquint and open the white and open them bright, and then see through the lost narrative, see through the things that have already come and are considered to be in your past, and now simply open up to this greater potential that is your future. And of course, a greater future is yet to come, but we're kind of in this transitory phase to where I'm preparing you for this initial jump, initial big shift that you have already experienced, but basically now we're trying to acclimate to. So thank you for listening, and we'll see you in a bit.